Hello you guys, what is up? I'm coming to you from a get ready scene moment in my bathroom as I was actually getting ready for our anniversary date, which was so fun, and I will show some clips of that at the end. I have a cold, so my voice sounds a little weird and raspy. So, in my last video, I talked about how I was going to do a part 2 of the marriage lessons. While I was prepping for that, I realized that I could really do an entire video on one of those points that I was going to talk about. So that is how we got to today's topic. Today's topic is exactly what the title says, and it is stop trying to change your spouse. Now, make sure you are listening to this video in context, because what I am not saying here is that we should not challenge each other, that we should never encourage each other to grow, or point out when the other is wrong, or help the other see if they're taking part in something destructive. One of the main points of marriage is to be sharpened by the other and to sharpen as well. I will also say that I think it's really important that you marry someone with the same values and beliefs that you have, because that is going to be what the foundation of your home is. What I'm talking about today is more how a person is hardwired, and I will explain that. So this topic is very familiar to my husband and I. We are opposites. We knew each other for 10 years before we got married, and we dated for 3.5. So you would really think that we would just slide into marriage with all of that history because we've known each other for so long. But the truth is that we really struggled with not trying to change each other. And to this day, it's something that we just have to make sure we are intentional about not doing, but we have grown a lot. We would probably all say in not the heat of a moment, of course I don't think my way is the best way for everything, but when you're in a heated discussion, think about the level of frustration that you experience when someone is not seeing what you're saying or agreeing. Obviously, we want to be acknowledged and understood, but what would happen if we were just as quick to yield a listening ear to our spouse as we were to jump on defense mode? So we have found that you can do one of two things, my husband and I. You can choose to try and die on your hill of being right and likely have the same conversations over and over again, and indeed want to pull out your hair and wonder why they are the way that they are. I have to cue this Michael Scott gif, whatever. Or number 2, you can accept that you are two different people God has brought together, and that everything may not be as black and white as you both may think. Acknowledge that you need God in your union and remind yourself to assume the best of them. They are not trying to ruin your life, and they are not against you just because they see something completely different. Honestly, this is so key. If you are going into an argument assuming the worst of them, that is what you are going to see. If you already believe that they are against you before they even open their mouth to explain their perspective, you are wasting your breath arguing because you've already made up your mind about what you think and you do not have listening ears. Did you know that a disagreement does not need to be a fight? It is possible and okay to disagree with someone respectfully. Not every conversation has to even end in this crazy breakthrough unified solution. I wish we would have known that earlier in our marriage. Sometimes conflicts honestly just need a couple rounds of revisiting it before progress can be made, and it is a really vital and important skill, I feel like, in marriage, to be able to set down a conversation, set down your anger with it, and be able to both commit to picking it up the next day or whenever. Joey and I honestly used to sit all night long until a solution was reached. We were delirious, talking in circles, and then we would wake up and go to class in the morning. We wanted to take seriously the verse, do not let the sun go down in your anger, which is great because I do think something happens spiritually when you are angry and have a hardened heart towards your spouse. Then you go to sleep and then a whole nother day starts because his mercies are new the next day, and you can't fully embrace all that God has for you in those mercies if your heart is still hardened and you spent a night sleeping that way. You can disagree with me, that's totally fine, but that's just something that we try to take really seriously. And now that we know that we can sit down our conversation and our anger with it and come back to it the next day, we can, get to sleep before 3 a.m. on those nights, which is great. I remember years back, the Lord really convicting me about how I carried myself in arguments and disagreements, and just saying to me, when your main goal in an argument is to be heard and then to be right, you are against your husband, and therefore you are against your own household in those moments. That was crushing to me because I want unity. I want a healthy marriage. And I realized, y'all, my voice is just going here. We're going to keep going though. I realized a healthy marriage does not just happen. It comes from both committing to being for each other and that being priority over being right. And that is a complete mindset shift when you enter a disagreement. And this has carried us years into our marriage, and it really, really makes such a difference. We have to pay attention to these things, to these habits, and how we handle ourselves when we disagree, because this is where the enemy gets sneaky. How you talk to each other, they all formulate a culture in your home, and the culture in your home is the climate where our kids are going to grow up. And kids don't care what we say. They care about what we show them. We need to sit down together and talk about where blind spots are. For us, we've learned that being together for so long means that we have a tendency to kind of get lazy with how we interact with each other. And that's not even about compatibility. That's just about how you treat each other when you disagree. I don't think there's a relationship on earth where you agree on everything. And if you do, then maybe there's a lot of topics you avoid, or maybe you should be making this video and not me. Remember that you are hardwired differently on purpose. What happens when you decide that, oh, your strengths are my strengths and my strengths are your strengths? You become this well-rounded couple that honors each other, and you've just inherited this whole new set of perspectives and skills and talents. I could write a book on all of the things that my husband has taught me and shown me, and that I am now good at as an individual because I became a student to some of the things that he is good at, and the same has happened vice versa. I sure hope. Identify together what your blind spot is. Exercise being able to put down your anger before your solution is reached. Remember, your peace will not come from solutions. That is so temporary. Peace is a person, and it is Jesus. Pray together, guys. God will help you. He made marriage. Nobody loves marriage more than God, okay? He is for you. I am there with you. Love you guys. I will see you next time.